Greetings, fellow Poltermasters. Greetings, fellow Poltermasters. I'm Crash Rowsell, and it's once again time to crash the Skylanders with another Top 5 video here on the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Top 5. Today we're going to be doing another one of those personal ones. You know, the one where you wake up in the morning and you're just happy to be alive. Most like the characters in this game, actually, in these games. If you look at Skylanders, one of the best things about the whole franchise is the generally likable characters that surround the game. And there's so many non-playable characters in the game. It's not just in your first game where you have your main 3, for example, or main 4 if you want to say that, but in the later games, so many new characters get introduced, and there's so many likable ones and a bunch of non-likable ones. But if you look at everything, there's so many likable characters that a lot of people actually can agree that the NPCs make the game a lifelike game. It's something that you enjoy, it's something that you feel like when you gotta go talk to them, it's not like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. But they build a lot of story to the game. And, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff like that. Now, an NPC, if you're not sure what that stands for, is a non-playable character. So, Chaos does not count as an NPC, because you can technically play as Chaos. Now, there might be a little bit of a gray area too, like you can play as a character as a racing character, but we're not going to count as that. Chaos is literally a non-playable character, that's the big thing. But characters like Flynn, Hugo, and Callie, those 3 are non-playable characters. So today, I'm going to be giving you my personal top 5 favorite NPCs, aka non-playable characters. So as I said, the only real rule to this list is Chaos is not an NPC, because you can play as him in Trap Team, in Superchargers, and in Imaginators. He's literally a figure in Imaginators. He's just a little trap in Trap Team, and he's a vehicle in... He's a vehicle. He turns into a vehicle. I don't know if you got a spoiler. But in all seriousness, though, he doesn't count because he is a character that you can buy and put on the portal. Now, any other character on this list are non-playable characters. And, as always with any of these lists, these are my personal list, meaning there might not be things you agree with, and that's fine. But, just be nice about it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to waste no more time and hop right in to number 5. So kicking off our list at number 5 is one of my favorite NPCs. He gets introduced to you in the Clock Town, and he comes out and he talks like this. Is it a Pinchi? Now, if you don't know, Da Pinchi is a very much big ripoff of Leonardo da Vinci, the famous actor. No, that's DiCaprio, sorry. The painter Da Vinci, he's a sculptor and all that too, but Da Vinci is based off of that, and it's really funny that he's literally a reincarnation of Leonardo da Vinci. And he's one of the most likable characters because he's a fun character to have around. He talks like this, and he talks like Italian, you know? And I don't know if that's stereotypical to any of Italians watching out there. What's up, Italians? How's it going? I love pizza. Now that's bad. Regardless, though, it's one of those characters that you are assisting in the whole game, but if you look at it, it's actually not, like, stressful. The best way to describe it is I look at playing with him and helping him get from point A to point B, and I kind of want to do that. And it's nice when he appears a little bit later on in the, was it the Phoenix Sanctuary? Something like that. In one of the levels where you're helping him and he's like, oh, it's the Da Vinci. And then he comes back and he talks to you a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, Da Vinci! The really cool thing about Da Vinci, though, is the fact that I have a successor to him outside of the Skylander world. I actually got a shiny Trapinch during Trapinch Community Day on Pokemon Go a long time ago and actually named it Trapinchi. Like Da Pinchi, but it's Trapinchi, which Trapinchi is based off of Da Pinchi, which is based off of Da Vinci. Da Vinci Code confirmed. But yeah, my number 5 is Da Pinchi from Trap Team. Well, he's in later games too, but mostly Trap Team. Number 4 on the list is Arbo, son of Larbo, grandson of Yarbo. He has a big long introduction, but the first time you introduce him and he talks like this, he's very similar to the Mad Hatter, or Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. The Mad Hatter talks like this, but Winnie the Pooh, the Tigger talks like this. But Arbo talks like this. It's literally you just gotta talk with your tongue hanging out of your mouth. That's how you talk like Arbo. But Arbo was one of those characters that as soon as he introduced, I love the little tongue-in-cheek humor of him, the fact that he's only been alive for like 2 minutes. He says at one point, he's like, I've only been alive for 2 minutes. But he's a very, very likable character, and for the first game, having someone introduced like that right at the bat, especially with all the characters that are introduced in that game for some apparent reason that you don't literally ever see in the future games, Arbo is one of those characters that stuck in people's minds and continued to be liked all the way up to the future in this game, and it's wild to think that even after all that, Arbo is still one of people's favorites after that long time frame, because it's been like 10 years now, and people still talk about how much fun and funny Arbo was right from the beginning, and it's just a pure enjoyable character that everybody liked right from the beginning. I don't think just a single person out there who disliked Arbo, and if you did, let me know in the comments why. It's kind of like the rollerball situation. It's like, oh, I just like rollerball, and say why, and it's like, I do. So that's one of the big things is, I want to make sure that you understand why you dislike Arbo, because you can't. Arbo is such a likable character. He is one of the cutest guys with the big old tree. He's like the son or brother, I guess, of T-Rex and Gnarly Barkley, or Barkley, for example. I'm not sure, but he's a very likable character, and for some reason, if you have not seen him in Super Mario's Adventure, or he's in Giants, I think he's in a couple future games too, if I'm not mistaken, little cameos and such. Go check him out. He's very funny, and that's my number 4. Number 3 is a bad guy. He becomes a good guy a little bit in Imagineers, but he is mostly a bad guy. It's Baron von Shellshock. When Baron von Shellshock got introduced in Motleyville, which is one of my favorite levels, I think it might have been my favorite level for SWAT Team. I think it was. That's what I said. That introduction immediately got me hooked to him. He's just an evil person because he's evil. He has no other reason to. He's just an evil person. He's like, listen, he's like, you're not listening to me, and he gets mad about it. The boss battle you have with him is also one of my favorites. I'll be talking about that hopefully in a future video, or this already came up and I'm talking about it before. Oopsie. But regardless, Baron von Shellshock is such a fun character just because he's like this high dictator and he thinks he's the greatest thing ever, and he has a lot of good one-liners where when he's getting away from you in Motleyville, he goes, Arrivederci, or stuff like that. Like he says other languages as he leaves. Yet he's supposed to be, I think, German or Russian. One of those. I think that's his ethnicity is what he's supposed to be. It's just really funny looking at his character and being like, am I supposed to hate him? I don't feel like I should hate him because I don't. I do like, however, in the future games he does come back. He is in Superchargers as a very funny character, and he is reintroduced in Imaginators as one of the characters you play Skystones with, which is pretty cool. Or Creation Clash, sorry, they changed the name from the 6th game. But regardless, he is one of my favorite characters just because he's one of those villains. Whenever I look at, say, villains in movies and stuff, I look at the whole scenario of, like, why are they a villain? And Black Panther always sticks out to me because of the fact that Michael B. Jordan's character, Killstroke? Deathstroke? What's his name? Killmonger. I forget his name, I'm very sorry. But his character is evil with a reason. Baron von Shellshock is evil because he wants to be. And I love that. So, Baron von Shellshock gets the number 3 spot on this list. Go play Motleyville again if you disagree with me and, be like, you know what? I agree. He's pretty awesome. Number 2 on the list. I have to get in the middle of the frame of this one because, ladies and gentlemen, boom! Flynn is your number 2 spot. Flynn is the most likable character in the whole series. No one can disagree with me there. He's one of those characters that he's so annoying, but so perfect. He's one of those characters that you look at and you're like, man, you upset me. You actually physically upset me, and I'm okay with that. Because he's so annoying that he's so likable. And that's one of the reasons I love Flynn so much, and I think that's the reason everybody loves Flynn so much. He's one of those pessimistic, egotistical people that you just love to hate, but you hate to love him too. It's the perfect definition of a character where from the beginning, as soon as you started talking to Flynn, you're just like, what is this guy? And then every single iteration of him, all the way up to Imaginators, even in the side games that he comes out in, he is just the most annoying little thing that everyone loves. Flynn is one of the most fun characters in any video game, in my opinion. Plus, he's voiced by the amazing Patrick Warburton. If you do not know his voice acting, he is phenomenal. He's most likely known for Joe from Family Guy. He voices him on that show, but he does a lot of other acting work. He's a very funny, method, serious actor. Like you look at him and he looks like he's a super serious actor, but he's one of the funniest ones I've ever seen. So taking his voice and putting him onto Flynn and making him this egotistical guy who talks like this and all that, and boom, and his little catchphrase and all this. He's so enjoyable. And I mean, there's not a single person in the world who plays Skylanders and does not enjoy going boom when he goes boom, Like boom. Did I punch him? I probably did. But yes, Flynn is such a likable character. He is so enjoyable to play throughout the game, and it's literally one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. But he didn't get my favorite, and I have another reason for my favorite one. But as soon as Flynn came into the first game, I knew that he was going to be someone I'm going to enjoy throughout the whole game. And I'm so thankful they kept him for all 6. Because Flynn, you are number 2, and you are more than deserving at this spot. So let's hop right into number 1, even though I just worship Flynn like crazy. Who in the world can be number 1? It's kind of obvious if you've seen my older stuff. So number 1 on my list is Tessa. As soon as Tessa got introduced in Swap Force, she instantly became one of my favorite characters in any video game. She just has that young mind mentality where everything is just cool and new and vibrant, and she cares about a lot of things. And that's one thing I really like, is that she's a very caring character. Ironic. She is a non-playable character that you want to help. Like, you see her and you realize that she's not, you know, the greatest thing of all time. Like, she's, in my opinion, she is. But, like, she has her skills, she has her powers and stuff, and she's a really good fighter and all this. But she's learning, she's growing, and she wants to grow as a person. And that's one of the reasons you want to help her, is because, you know, why wouldn't I want to do that? It's someone who needs your help. Then you start helping them out. You find out they're a likable character. They're doing everything for the goodness of their heart. And they're just a generally likable person. And that's why I like Tessa so much. I feel like, in a way, she's kind of like me. I feel like I'm one of those people who wants to go out of my way and help people as much as I can. While getting help myself, I feel a little bit bad about it, which is what Tessa's like. She does ask for help, but on top of that, she'd rather do it herself if she wanted to. And I can relate to that on a personal level. On the fact that, you know, I would like to be a person who could do it on my own, but I'm not afraid to ask for help. Tessa is a very, very likable character from beginning all the way up to the last game. She's one of those characters that when she popped up in Trap Team, I was so excited. Even in Superchargers and Imaginaries, I was like, oh my god, it's Tessa. I'm so happy to see Tessa back. I even named one of my gerbils after her. Now, unfortunately, the gerbil's passed away since, because this is years ago now. But yeah, I literally named one after her, and she, ironically, was the sweetest animal I think I've ever owned. She lived up to her name, I guess. But yes, Tessa is number 1 on my favorite NPC list. Probably a lot of people's favorites out there too, so let me know if you agree in the comments. But yeah, Tessa gets the number 1 spot. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the 5 best NPCs, or my favorite NPCs in the entire franchise. I know there's a lot of them, and of course there's a lot of bad ones too, so maybe we'll look into that one in the future. Who knows, we're going to get negative on the channel? Boy, oh boy, that doesn't happen. But, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this episode of the top 5 NPCs. Another top 5 in the bags, and you don't have to ask me anymore. If someone says, who's your favorite NPC? I can just link him this video where you can do it. Awesome. Let me know your favorite NPC in the comments below. While you're down there, the description's always full of some good stuff. You always got some links to my Twitter. You got my P.O. box if you want to send me stuff. God knows what else I have down there by now. Could be anything. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching this. Come back next week for another awesome video. And as always, a bunch of new videos throughout the week. But as always, I bid you farewell.